Hello there, this is Christopher's Weekly History Topic videos for week 28, the week of August 11th to the 17th. And this video is going to be about the election of 1877 and, well, the election of 1876 and the Compromise of 1877. Now, the election of 1876 takes place after a long period of Reconstruction after the U.S. Civil War. There are two names that you would need to know. The first, well, the name of the two candidates. The Republican is Rutherford B. Hayes, and the Democratic candidate is Samuel Tilden. During this time, there's still federal troops in the South. Some of them have been fully reconstructed, but there are a lot that are still, under military control in the South. The Democrats nominate Samuel Tilden, and the Republicans nominate a Civil War veteran and governor of Ohio at the time, Rutherford B. Hayes, who was a Civil War general. What happened was the electoral college for this was split right down the middle. It was there was disputed counts and states, mainly in the South, three in particular: South Carolina, Louisiana, and Florida. No surprise there. It looks like Florida is a problem in any election. So you have three states in which they can't decide who won. They can't decide, well, Tilden won those states, well, no, Hayes won those states. And the scary thing is, without those three states, Tilden and Hayes are dead tied. They're in a tie. And, those three states can make it or break it depending on who gets it. So a committee was set up. There's I think it was six. I think it was 6 Democrats and 6 Republicans and 1 independent. And what happened was the independent went along with the Republicans, and Hayes won the presidency. The Democrats didn't like this. They were about to, go all haywire, hey, no, you can't do this, we need to recount. But then there was the Compromise of 1877. Hayes and the Republicans guaranteed federal troops out of the South and to end Reconstruction and give them back to the Democrats if the Democrats would concede the election to Rutherford B. Hayes. So the Democrats like this idea and see it as a way that they can push forth their agenda in the South. So they agreed to give Hayes the election and return for those states being, quote, redeemed. This, however, was horrible because this was basically the failure of Reconstruction. During Hayes' term as president, he's known as Fraud B. Hayes. And as the Democrats regain control of each sovereign state, you see African Americans lose the votes. You see the Klan become more and more pronounced, and you see Democrat after Democrat beating Republicans in the South, and then you eventually have the Black Codes and the Jim Crow laws come in, and it's basically the failure of Reconstruction. The election of 1876 and the Compromise of 1877 was really what ends Reconstruction in the South. And it's basically why some historians find it to be a failure of Reconstruction. A lot of historians don't see Reconstruction as something that was good and successful. a lot of times a lot of historians say that, you know, Reconstruction failed because of the Compromise of 1877 and other stuff like that. I know one historian who is really good with Civil War and Reconstruction time period. His name is Eric Floner. In fact, I have one of his books. It's right here. It's an entire book on Reconstruction. It's very good for anyone who wants to know about Reconstruction. Eric Floner's book, and in here he basically goes over what most American History 1 textbooks and Civil War textbooks go over, like Reconstruction failed because of the Compromise of 1877, and that after this you see like black codes come into place. You see African Americans not being voted into office in the South. You see, you know, the Klan harassing more and more black people to not vote. So the election of 1876 and the Compromise of 1877 really end Reconstruction in the South, but the downfall is it really makes it really bad for Southern African Americans up to the 1950s and 1960s when you have the Civil Rights Movement. So until like the 1950s and 60s, you really have in the South this Jim Crow laws, and it's bad for African Americans in the South until like the 1950s and 60s. So that's really the bad part of the Compromise of 1877.